Hello, Internet. It's Jen T. Grace here, founder of Publish Your Purpose Press. And I am here for day number 7, tip number 7 of the 30-day marketing challenge. So the 30-day marketing challenge is that I want you to double your book sales between the last 30 days and this 30 days that we are in this challenge together. So if you sold 10, 100, 1,000, does not matter. I want you to double your book sales. So today's tip is around building your mailing list and setting up your email list. So when it comes to authorship, one of the most important things that we want to be considering is how are we engaging with our readers beyond them just reading the book itself. So many, or I should say all of our authors at PYP are growing their businesses through the use of their book. So what we want to be considering is how do we strategically have calls to action placed within the book that brings them to your website to get them on a mailing list to eventually sell them something else. So there's a lot of steps to this process, and I'll get into other pieces of this process in later tips. But today I want to focus on setting up your email list. So if you are an author and you do not yet have your email list set up, there's a couple of things to consider. First is that you have to figure out what email service provider you want to use. So I'm not talking about using Outlook or Gmail. I'm talking about having a dedicated email platform such as ConvertKit or MailChimp or Constant Contact or ActiveCampaign. There's tons of them out there. So you want to find the one that works for you. If you are already using an email program for your business, the best thing to do is just use the program that you're already using. So you can set up a separate list within that existing program. You can set up a separate autoresponder sequence in that program, whatever you might be doing. But if you are new to this and you have zero clue how to set up an email list for your book, what I would suggest is going through ConvertKit. That happens to be a platform that I personally have used, or I personally use now for both my LGBTQ consulting brand as well as the Publish Your Purpose Press business. So I prefer ConvertKit. If you go to the publishyourpurposepress.com/marketing page on the website, you can get a link to ConvertKit, which in all transparency is an affiliate link. I really endorse this brand. From a book standpoint, they really have a great system set up. So convertkit.com is the one. I have no idea what our affiliate code is, but I will put that in on our page. So what we want to do is first think through what you want your email list to do for you. So we have to get the technical pieces of setting up. So go to whatever platform you choose, purchase, some of them are free depending on how many subscribers you have. Some of them are $20 a month, $30 a month, $50 a month, and they just keep getting higher based on how many contacts you have on that list. So set up the list first and foremost. Then figure out what are you doing with the list itself. So how are you nurturing your readers into doing something more with you? So you'll want to consider doing things such as setting up an autoresponder sequence, which is really when someone goes and they say, yes, sign me up. I want to be on this author's mailing list. What happens then? What does that process look like? Is it, you're welcoming them? Are you giving them some kind of bonus for having read your materials? Are you giving them exclusive access to something, which could be a video series? It could be you and your expertise. It could be a consulting call with you. It could be a group call with you. There are so many different things that you can consider doing with that. And the beauty is that you've written a book, therefore you have no shortage of content or things to say. So that's kind of a huge benefit to all of this, is that you don't really have to think through too hard of what you're going to say. It's just a matter of finding the right things that you already have and repurposing them for the benefit of this mailing list. So you don't want to have people on a mailing list just to have people on a mailing list. Obviously, you want to be engaging people, but ultimately your goal is that you want to sell something to this list of people. And that's why you hear all sorts of marketing experts talking about to not be focused on building your platform on other people's platforms. So not to say you shouldn't be. Focus on building your Facebook following, your Instagram following, your LinkedIn connections. All of those things are really important, but the place that is really the gold mine for any business is your email list. The reason being is that you control and own that list. If Facebook decides that they're going to change their algorithm, or Instagram decides they're going to change their algorithm, and all of a sudden you have 100,000 followers and only 0.5% are actually seeing what you're putting out, then you no longer have any control over your access to those people who have expressed interest in following you. If you get them on your mailing list, that's a whole other story, because now you are in control of that relationship with your reader. So that's why we want to be focused on setting up an email list. I will go into bigger detail on a later tip in regards to what an autoresponder sequence might look like, what a call to action within your book to get them on the mailing list to begin with might look like. I will cover all of those in separate tips, because those are they're more involved. We'll just put it that way. So today I just want you to focus on getting your email list set up. If you don't already have one, I want you to go find the platform that works for you. As I mentioned at the top of this, I personally recommend ConvertKit. It just works really well when you're working with content. There are others like Constant Contact. I think they work really well for newsletters and things that have a lot of images in them. So it's a personal preference, honestly. And I'll put links in regards to all of these platforms on publishyourpurposepress.com/marketing for you to check out. And then once you've set up that list, then you can come back for a later tip and we'll talk about what to do with your email list. And then if you already have an email list set up for your business, set up a separate campaign that's specific for your author business. You don't want to funnel everybody into the same thing. If you have a business where you're speaking, consulting, maybe you even sell widgets, who knows what you might be doing. Maybe you're selling online programs already. You want to have different ways that you're engaging those readers, your audience, whomever they are. We want them segmented, and you want to be able to engage them in different ways. So if you already have that set up a separate one for authorship. And then that is today's job for you. That's all I'm asking you to do, is go find the platform you want to use, set up a campaign or set up a separate list within the existing platform that you use. And then we will get into more of the specifics of what to do with those things in the next tip. So that is today's tip. I hope that's not too overwhelming or too complicated for you, but check out my page that I mentioned, publishyourpurposepress.com/marketing, and you just click right on the links and go right to those different programs. I'll even find a comparison of the different email campaigns, and I'll throw that link in there too. So that way, depending on your business, you might want to consider different things. I personally love ConvertKit. I recommend it to people all the time, but there's tons of other ones out there, and they all range in price. So there's a lot of considerations to take into consideration. So that's today's tip. I will be back tomorrow for tip number 8. I appreciate you. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's any other types of tips that you are looking for throughout this 30-day challenge, we are only on day 7, so there are a lot more tips to come. So please just leave a comment wherever you might be watching this video, and I'm happy to take into account anything that you're asking, and perhaps that will be a future tip as well. All right, thanks so much. I will talk